Hello and welcome. Very good evening. You're watching Nation Now. I'm Afrida Rahman Ali. After the killing of Tigress Avni, now wildlife activists and animal lovers are coming together in a global protest march in several cities to draw attention to the shrinking space for tigers and the lack of rehabilitation support for the two cubs of the tigress who, remember, are yet to be traced. The protest is scheduled in several cities across Delhi, Nagpur, Chennai, Kolkata, Trivandrum, Bangalore and Hyderabad as well. Abroad in several countries, in US, in Canada and New Zealand, protesters are demanding justice for Avni. Now remember, all of this must be looked at from the perspective of the fact that of the total wild population of the 6 remaining subspecies of tigers, only 3,000 to 3,600 tigers are left on this planet. I have Amita Balachandra, who is reporting from one of the protest locations in Mumbai. Amita, I believe you have animal lovers with you. The anger is palpable. What exactly are the animal lovers saying today? What are they angry about?
Well, they are angry, first of all, about the way in which Tigress Avni was killed. And second, of course, what is happening to the cubs. I have not just activists right now, but also the petitioner in this case joining me right now. Sarita, thank you so much for joining us. First of all, the biggest concern right now is about the cubs.
Absolutely, we are really worried about the cubs. It's more than 8 days since the cubs, since Avni was killed, and if the cubs are not found, they will die of starvation. In fact, we are really disappointed because we had mentioned this very fact that if you go ahead and kill the mother, the cubs will not survive. So the government council actually gave an affidavit saying that it's no big deal. Even if the mother is killed, we will find the cubs very easily. Now, 8 days, we see hardly any effort being made apart from scattering of a few meat pieces and some stray cages being deposited here and there. We really want the CM to show more intent. The state government is not showing intent to save the cubs. We want the cubs saved, and that's only possible if other forest departments put in their rescue teams to save the cubs. Maharashtra will not do it. Sorry.
So, in fact, I want to ask you this question. One of the biggest points that a lot of people made is to sack the forest minister. But when we spoke to the chief minister, he said that it's not right to blame him. Would you buy that argument?
We, as common people, don't buy that argument at all. Because if not Mungantiwar, who do we hold responsible? The chief minister? Does he take responsibility of what's been happening? Of all the wild animals killed in the past 1 year? Does he take the responsibility? Does he want to resign? If not, give us Mungantiwar at least. You've taken Avni from us. The least we are taking from you right now is Mungantiwar. And we'll take him from you. Watch it.
And how important is it to save the cubs at this point in time? Because it's been 8 days and the forest department tells us that they're looking for them, but they've not been able to find them.
Of course they won't find them because I don't think they're seriously doing what has to be done. They should have brought in experts from other states. They should have taken advice from people who are coming forward to help. They've done nothing of that sort. They've not been able to track Avni for about 45 days. How on earth are they going to find the cubs without specialist help? Because we've seen, right, they've always gone to the wrong people for support. When they wanted to tranquilize, they went into a hunter. Now when they want to rescue, they'll probably go to a fisherman. So we do tell them, get the right people to do the right job. Just as much as we have the wrong people running ministries, we have wrong people running the forest as well.
Well, as Anand said, I back him with that and I back up Rupali. I need Mungantiwar out, completely out firstly, and a judicial probe, as I said earlier, a very serious judicial probe and an individual judicial probe should be there.
Well, that is the word coming in from activists and the petitioner. In fact, Sarita.
Yeah, actually, with the more and more days passing by, it's very important to understand that chemical immobilization, that is tranquilization of the cubs, is going to be very difficult because it will prove to be fatal for them. The only way to capture them now will be by physical restraint, and we need more eyes and feet on the ground. We are willing to come. So, if you're not going to call outside state help, we are willing to come and help.
Why is the government not taking help?
In fact, that help was not taken by the government.
No, they're not taking any help. Why are they not seeking any help from outside? We are ready to help. We have people who are ready to go there and give them full assistance. Am I right, Sarita?
Yes, absolutely.
Why is the government not allowing? Why they don't have any intentions?
we've already sent out a message to talk to the PCCF, Mr. Mishra. We told him that there is help available, and he sends me a message saying we'll discuss internally and come back to you in 2-3 days. It's almost like he is looking at some blueprint for some building that is far, far away. They don't even understand the seriousness of life here.
Avni's cubs represent hundreds of tigers that are in danger because all their land and all their forests have been given away for factories. Let us save those 2 cubs and set a precedent of our humanity. I mean, forget the parties, forget the powers. Please, yaar, as human beings, save 2 children. You've killed the mother and she was innocent.
Yes, you are.
Right.
Like if you see, Mr. Mungantiwar has been saying that it's only the court order that he's followed. The court orders very clearly, specifically said that you need to capture the cubs before, either tranquilizing or shooting her dead. But when they found her without the cubs, they went ahead and shot her. So it's very clear the motive of the government right from the beginning has been that they kill Avni. They never wanted to capture or relocate her, and they have no intentions whatsoever to save the 2 babies. So they have been left to fend for themselves.
Okay, so that is a word coming in from activists there, really questioning the intent of the state government, asking now for a judicial probe. Afrida.
Right, Amita. In fact, some very strong voices there. The anger is not just over Avni's death now. The anger is over not being able to trace her cubs. It's been 8 days. So there is now tremendous amount of anxiety over that. I am now joined by Balchandra Shirsat, who is the spokesperson of the Maharashtra BJP, Dan Richardson, actor and animal conservationist, Kamna Pandey, former co-op member, Animal Welfare Board. She'll be joining us very shortly. I also have Mr. Asghar Ali, who is a hunter and who is believed to be the person who was responsible for shooting down Tigress Avni. I welcome you all to Nation Now. My first question goes to you, Mr. Balchandra Shirsat. You heard those voices. There is so much anguish now among animal lovers. They've forgotten the fact that Avni was killed. Now their concern is for the cubs. What efforts have been made by your government to trace Avni's cub? The pug marks were found. If cameras could trace it, why is it so difficult for your entire state machinery and your forest department to get hold of Avni's 2 cubs?
See, I am not forest expert, neither I am hunting expert, neither I am tiger expert. All experts are working on it. 100 people team, day and night they are working on it. They could trace the pug marks of cubs near village Chikli twice. So that indicates 11-month-old cubs are alive and they have survived. They can survive with frogs, with some hair or maybe fish or small animals.
Right.
They are able to survive. We have to protect them and we have to trap them carefully for catching the tigress. 2 months efforts at different level. The help was sought from other states also, but ultimately we could not succeed.
There are a
And
lot
we are
of
not,
people offering
enemy
help,
of the
sir. Are you
tigress.
really interested
We have
in
not
tracing
gained
Avni's
anything.
cubs? The question is that are you
Yes,
even
100%.
getting the right people to trace the
100%,
cubs?
100%,
Because when it came
100%.
to following the procedure in the case of Avni, it
Who
is
will
alleged
decide
that
who
you
is
got
the right
the wrong
person?
people. You did not have a
Anybody-
veterinarian present. You did not follow procedure. Now, at least when it comes to tracing the cubs, do you have the right people, the experts who are supposed to be meant for a job like this? That is the assurance people are asking for.
See, who will decide who is right and wrong? I don't know. But anybody who is coming forward for help, tracing the cubs, they are all are welcome. Dr. Sudhir Munguntiwar will take all the suggestions. If required, they will be inducted in the team and the search operation should be carried out successfully. That is the motto. We are also animal lovers. We are also animal friends. Man-eater tigress was killed. Otherwise, Dr. Sudhir Munguntiwar belongs to Chandrapur forest area. He is representing that for 25 years. He is MBBS doctor.
No, I
Doctor
don't
is
want to
saving
hear the
lives.
credentials of your
Doctor is
minister.
not
What I'm
taking the
interested
lives
in knowing
of
is,
human being or
did you
animals.
have an idea of the larger picture here? There is an issue of tiger conservation that the entire world is concerned about. When you took this decision to bring down a tiger, did you do it on an impulse, or was this a carefully thought out decision? At what level was this decision taken to kill Avni? Because like you said, she was declared a man-eater. Now the fact is, activists, animal lovers, even local people who live around that area tell us that there were encroachments into the jungle. If a human being intrudes, he's called a trespasser, he's punished for it. Shouldn't the same rules apply to the animal world? She was damned as a man-eater, but the fact is that her territory was intruded upon by human beings. Did you take this entire picture into account when you took the decision to kill Avni, sir? Before I go to my other guests, I want you to answer this point.
See, the decision which was taken by the forest minister, forest officers, was challenged in honorable court. You don't believe the government, all right. I hope you believe the court and Supreme Court. Supreme Court has given clear verdict of first try to catch, tranquilize, and if required, then shoot. All efforts
We are
were
all
done,
aware of the court's
all orders
orders,
were
which
given
is why
as
we
per
are
due
asking you this
process of
question.
law.
Why wasn't
Law
court
of
orders
the land
followed?
was
Why
followed.
wasn't there a veterinarian? Did you exhaust all your options? Did you kill as a
was
last resort?
followed.
Or
That
did
is
you
what-
kill
that is-
on an impulse, on
Yes.
an impulsive decision? That's the question we are asking. Because the court said that you can kill a man-eater tigress
question
as
to
a
you-
last resort after
my
all
question
attempts
to
to
you.
tranquilize fails. That is where we are not satisfied,
Yes.
because we do not believe that you made
Yes.
all efforts to tranquilize Avni. I would
You
allow
are
my
not
other guests now to
satisfied,
come
but
in.
But were you present? Were you present on the site?
It is not about me being present, sir.
Were you
There are
present on the
people
site
around
to
who
visualize
believe
what has
that the
happened first
team
and
that you
next?
had deployed for the job was not as per the directives of the
How
court.
do you believe?
Because the veterinarian was not present. Can you tell me who was the senior veterinarian present
Definitely
on the
directives
spot?
of the court. Directives of the court.
Do you know
when
that the
directives
killing
of
took place
government-
after 11
government
p.m.?
decision
No
was
tranquilization
upheld by
is
the
allowed
court.
after sundown. All
No,
rules were
no.
flouted, sir. Let's not go back into that over and over again. I want to bring in two other guests who's also joining the show. Actually, I have Mr. Shafat Ali Khan, who's the father of Asghar Ali Khan. I want to give him an opportunity to tell us that how was this job assigned to him, under what circumstances, who appointed him for this particular job, and why. Mr. Shafat Ali Khan, please come in and tell us that, how were you assigned this job? And what was the brief given to you?
Well, let me tell you one thing. Let us first understand the law position. What does the law of the land say? I will take 1 minute. I am reading section 11A of the Wildlife Protection Act. The chief wildlife warden of a state has statutory power, and he can order, in special circumstances when the situation goes out of control, elimination of any animal. I am reading the relevant portion. The Chief Wildlife 11A of Wildlife Protection Act 1972. The Chief Wildlife Warden may, if he is satisfied that any animal specified in Schedule 1, now Schedule 1 is tiger, elephant, has become dangerous to human life, he need not wait for it to kill 13 people. Has become dangerous to human life or is so disabled or diseased to be beyond recovery, by order in writing and stating the reasons thereof, permit any person to hunt such animal or cause such animal to be hunted. So this is the law position. Now, as far as this tigress was concerned, for 20 months effort was being made to tranquilize her. The best teams of the country were invited. Elephants came from Madhya Pradesh. Local veterinarians from other states were called. And this operation went on, and that resulted in the death of 14 people. Now, when we talk of Maharashtra, you are casting baseless aspersions on the forest officers. Let me tell you that Maharashtra is one state where tiger numbers from 103 10 years ago have gone to 225 now. Who is responsible for this? Everyone, right from the Honorable Minister down to the local forest guard, has worked tirelessly for years together. Strategies were made, planning was made. Today, Maharashtra has become a shining example of tiger conservation. Every year, 3 to 4
And therefore, do
tigers
you
are
think
being
you have
captured.
the liberty
They
to
are
shoot
being
down a
saved by
tiger
their
violating all rules and procedure? That does not justify the killing of Avni. The fact that your tiger numbers have gone up has got nothing to do with the fact that rules were not followed.
Please let me complete.
Go ahead,
Please
sir,
let me
go ahead.
complete. No, please let me complete. So the fact of the matter is that 14 people were killed. Maharashtra has been capturing 3 to 4 tigers every day. Why couldn't they capture this tigress? Because she was a confirmed man-eater. The terrain was difficult.
Right. I understand. I'll take your point to Dan Richardson and to Kamna Pandey. I got your point, sir.
For 20 months,
I got
this
your point.
operation
You are saying
went on.
that she was a declared man-eater, and the law of the land says that when it's a declared man-eater, it is the state government is well within its powers to issue such orders. I took your point there. I want to bring in Kamna and also, of course, Dan Richardson. To you first, Mr. Dan Richardson. Now, what do we do when we are given a justification like this, that human life is supreme? This was done to save human lives. After all, Tigress Avni is believed to have killed 14 people. She was a threat to human life, and therefore she had to go. This is the primary argument, Mr. Dan Richardson, that is given to us. At this rate, how do we save our tigers?
Well, thank you very much for having me on the show, first of all, and giving me the chance to talk. I would say every problem that exists on this earth exists because of this misguided belief that human beings are more important, or any life is more important than any other, whether that's humans against humans or humans against animals. And I have to go straight back to the point that the gentleman has just given us, that she was confirmed as a man-eater. I would welcome the proof that shows that Avni was a man-eater, because none was provided. The information that I have and that I know is widely available is that of the 13, it's now 14 people that he's saying, but of the number of people that were killed, only 3 were ever DNA tested. Only 2 of those were ever found to have tiger DNA present. Only 1 of those was a female tiger, and none of them were proven to be Avni, nor was the cause of death ever proven to be tiger. It was shown that a tiger had interfered with the body in 2 cases. It was never shown that that was the cause of death. So if all of this is justified by the fact that she is confirmed, as he said, a man-eater, I would argue that that is completely baseless from the very beginning.
Right. That's a very good point. Sarita, would you like to add to that? Sarita Subramaniam is also joining us. I would like to bring in Sarita and Kamna. First, you, Sarita. The arguments are the same, that human life is supreme, Avni was a threat to human life, and also the fact that now Mr. Shafat Ali also tells us that this was done after tremendous effort were made to tranquilize her over months.
I would like to call the bluff of both. I would like to call the bluff of both Mr. Shafat Khan and Mr. Sudhir Mungantiwar, who's our forest minister. If what they say is that they have planned to, let's say, eliminate Tigress Avni after the Supreme Court decision, why was Shafat Khan, who is not even a veterinarian, why was he given the order a year back in October last year in 2017, October 6, 2017? This gentleman who's not a veterinarian was called in for a medical procedure, which is tranquilization. It is like if I, instead of giving anesthesia, I call my receptionist to do the anesthesia. Would anybody find that acceptable? Not really. So let's stop this, propaganda done by Mr. Shafat Khan and Mr. Sudhir Mungantiwar that it is because of the Supreme Court's decision that they took the decision to eliminate her. Secondly, it has not been proven conclusively. The courts have not probe in that she's a man-eater. All they said is that the state could take the decision to whatever they wanted with Tigress Avni. The court, Supreme Court actually said first try and capture the cubs, then try and capture her, not eliminate her. When Mr. Shafat says that the elephants came from MP and efforts were made to tranquilize her, will he please explain the reasons for his sabotaging of the efforts of the MP vets? Twice he has sabotaged the efforts of tranquilization. So I don't think he is in a position to sanctimoniously tell us about capturing a man-eater. First and foremost, there is no need for anybody. Yes, the law says that, and which is why we are expecting that the law will be amended. Meanwhile, no efforts were made in the last 2 months to find her, because when they found her, his son Asghar Ali, who had no authority to shoot her, shot her dead.
Yes, I will just quote Asghar Ali since you brought up his name. He's the son of Safat Ali. Mr. Safat Ali, your son has said, and I'm quoting him here, he says, our intention was to capture her alive. There was not even a second's time for me to deliberate on it, except for shooting at it. It was a reflex action. Now, that is where I want to ask you, can we afford to be so casual about killing our tigers? Kamna, could you please come in on this?
Yes, thank you for getting me here.
Just hold on, Mr. Khan, I'll come to you. I want Kamna to come in, and then I want you to respond to both Sarita and Kamna. Let Kamna finish her point. Yes, Kamna, go ahead.
Thank you. He's read out portions from the Wildlife Protection Act, which was formed in 1972. He has not quoted the sections or the guidelines of NTCA SOP, the National Tiger Conservation Authority, has specifically laid down guidelines for big cat and man conflict, and that has been meticulously studied until as recently as 2013. It was amended. Let me read out from there. 8N of the SOP clearly states, and I quote, under no circumstances a tiger should be eliminated by invoking the Wildlife Protection Act 1972 if it is not habituated for causing human deaths. For our viewers, I would just elaborate on the point of habituated. The point habituated means that the tiger has to stalk a human being and kill the human being. Not just a chance encounter that it was trying to kill cattle and the human was standing next to it, or it is bending down in the field and the tiger feels that it is an animal and it attacked. That is not considered as habituated killing. Habituated killing means there has to be strong evidence to prove that the tiger is stalking, coming out of the jungle. So one, he is selectively quoting and he is misguiding your viewers,
yes.
Number one.
Yes.
Number two, I would like to ask, how many man-eater tigers has Asghar Ali Khan worked with? Is this his training ground? Is he getting his family to train them? Has he ever worked on any man-eater tiger? We do know he has been called in to kill some boars. Hunting of boars is what he has done. Is not the same as hunting a tiger. A tigress, and that also allegedly man-eater tigress. Now, as far...
Right. Okay, you've raised those points. Mr. Shafat Ali
Another
Khan, the
question,
primary
please,
point that Kamna is making, and Sarita also raised it, is that you were not authorized person to tranquilize Avni. So why were you or your son there in the first place? Because as per court orders, the tranquilization process has to happen before the decision to shoot down is taken. Can you address the points that have been raised by both Sarita and Kamna, please? Mr. Khan?
Of course, we were both authorized by the Forest Department, and the Chief Wildlife Warden of the state is the authorized person to authorize anyone who has the competence. As far as darting is concerned, a veterinarian fills the dart. A veterinarian surely can't run after a man-eating tiger and dart it. So a veterinarian fills the dart and gives it to somebody. If you've seen that video of Assam where the elephant jumped onto, the tiger jumped onto the elephant, there also a ranger was firing the dart. So that is number one. Anyone can dart who is a marksman, who has expertise in shooting.
Sorry.
And the
No, I'm
veterinarian
sorry.
had
This
filled
is
the
something
dart.
you're
As far
incorrect.
as
Who prepared
Let me correct
let me
Mr.
complete,
Shafat
no.
Ali Khan, because
I mean, if you are going to go on,
here is a statement
if you are
by the
going-
National Apex Body of
No, veterinarian
Veterinarians.
councils after
They have
veterinarian
written to
councils
state
have challenged
authorities.
this,
Sarita,
Mr.
just
Shafat.
1 second. I want
You
to
are
just
not
bring
a
in this
doctor and you
point,
cannot
which has
tranquilize.
come from none less than the Apex Body, the National Apex Body of Veterinarians, have said that drugs used to tranquilize the tigress were handled by a non-veterinarian. This is against the rules, as drugs in the dart had to be handled by a vet or someone notified by the state government. Now, in this particular case, are you telling us, Mr. Shafat Ali Khan, that you had the expertise of handling a tranquilization process? Because both Sarita and Kamna here believe that you have not handled cases like this. What is your response to that?
We have not handled the drugs. Who's saying we have handled the drug?
So that's
What
precisely
I'm
my
saying
point.
is
That
the
is where the
veterinarian
violation has
filled the
occurred.
dart and gave it to the forest and oh my God. Well, if you are not going to listen to me,
Okay.
I might as well walk out to the show. There seems to be so much of confusion. I can't hear what is happening. Let me complete. The veterinarian filled the dart and gave it to the range officer.
Tell us, has
The range
Asghar Ali
officer
Khan
was
ever
authorized
worked
to
on
dart.
any man-eater tiger?
Let Mr. Khan finish. Kamna, let him finish, because otherwise we are not able to understand his point. Yes, go ahead, Mr. Khan.
So the veterinarian at the base camp, they used to be veterinary doctors. They used to handle the medicine. They used to load the darts and give it to the 9 teams who used to go out every morning. And this dart was also filled and loaded by a registered senior veterinarian, and the departmental tranquilizing gun was given to a range officer, and this was the procedure in vogue. Every time the teams went out, 2 guards to identify, 1 person with a dart gun and 1 police shooter or whoever was
who
there
would
with
give
a
the
weapon.
reversal
They
drug?
would go
Mr.
out in every
Shafat Khan?
team.
Okay,
Mr. Shafat Khan, who would give the reversal drug if there is no veterinarian there? Who would administer the drip if there was no veterinarian there? The forester, who's not even a veterinarian, or your son, who's not a veterinarian? Who would give the reversal drug? Let's say with good intentions and good faith you went and you tried to tranquilize, even if we don't buy that theory. Let's say you did it for the sake of argument. Who was going to administer the reversal drug? Or do you think your son
so
is
there are a
capable
lot of
of
those
giving the reversal
questions,
drug? He's
Sarita.
capable of
For
managing the
paucity of time,
hypothermia?
I have to
The
now,
veterinarians, the
just
veterinarians
pan
were
out
at
of
the
this
base camp,
this topic of
and
tranquilization
after
only, because I have
in
other
15
issues also
minutes,
to
the
address
veterinarian
here.
would come.
So
They could be called on
the
the
issue here
wireless.
is the processes were not followed, the due processes were not followed, even though Mr. Shafat Ali Khan would not agree. But like I said, I have quoted from an apex body the rules that are being laid down. I want to bring in Mr. Dan Richardson.
All procedures were followed.
I gave you
All
enough
procedures
opportunity
were
to
followed.
answer
The
and
Supreme
rebut all
Court
the
had
questions.
clearly
Sir, let me move
Tranquilization
on
is
now
not
to
allowed
the next
after
point. Let
sunset,
me move
Mr.
on to the
Shafat Ali
next
Khan.
point.
I hope you know this.
Hold
My
on,
job is
Kamna.
not
Let
to
me bring in
satisfy
Mr.
you.
Dan Richardson, who's joining us
Yes.
from overseas. And it's our pleasure, in fact, to have Mr. Richardson with us. I want to have his points of view also put across for the benefit of our viewers. Mr. Richardson, the issue here is, in the larger picture, in a country like ours, population is growing in leaps and bounds, civilization is expanding, infrastructure is getting into animal space. It is shrinking the animal space. And like you perhaps already know, there are powerful industry lobbies that work in connivance with powerful ministers. Now, this perhaps may not just be the story of only India, isn't it? Across the globe, tiger conservation and wildlife conservation is an issue. How are we doing in terms of tiger conservation in particular? And what are your major concerns when you see something like Avni happening?
Again, I mean, I think that Avni stands as a very strong symbolic case of exactly what's happening around the world with different species. As you've quite rightly pointed out, human-wildlife conflict is an enormous problem everywhere, and under no circumstances do the animals ever seem to get the priority. So we are a enormously overpopulated species already. The human species is essentially, if you look at the dictionary definition of a plague, that's essentially what the human species is doing to planet Earth. And ironically, and in the most twisted irony, we are destroying the very planet which sustains our existence. And as I've heard Sarita and Anand and other people already articulate very well, by destroying the habitat, by destroying the environment, and by destroying the wildlife in it, we are slowly but surely destroying ourselves.
Yes,
and at
absolutely.
some point, I believe, and I feel strongly, and I can see, I'm so humbled and encouraged to see the thousands of people who've taken to the street in support of Avni and asking for justice and for the protection of her cubs, to see that people are starting to realize that by helping animals and by helping wildlife, you are indeed helping the human population. We're helping ourselves. One of the things that I have to say that I'm led by, and that many of the people who I see protesting for Avni today are led by, is one of the greatest quotes that ever came from the mouth of one of the greatest human beings ever to existed, which was Gandhi, who said, "The greatness of a nation and its moral conduct can be assessed by its treatment of animals, can be judged by its treatment of animals." Now, with that phrase in mind, with that quote in mind, how could we possibly justify these actions? All of the information Mr. Khan has just given us about the various protocols and the procedures and the Wildlife Act and the fact that everything was adhered to, it's clearly not the case. And I'm sorry to say this, but I think what we're seeing here is a worldwide epidemic. This is indicative of a worldwide epidemic where a largely apathetic majority who will take whatever they're given, and in this case, it's man-eating tiger. That's all that was told to the public, that in order for them to be able to get away with what they've just done, was that people were told she was a man-eater. At no point, and I invite Mr. Khan or the minister or anybody else to do this, provide us with some evidence, and I mean evidence, that Avni attacked and killed a human being. And as the governor just so articulately also expressed, it's not just enough that a tiger may have encountered a human being and either defended herself and her cubs or thought that it was a prey animal. It has to be habituated killing of a human being. That has never been proven in the case of Avni. And I would invite, because if you think about it like this, none of this conversation is actually relevant until that point is proven. If that first fundamental basic point is correct, that Avni was never proven to be a man-eater, everything else is moot, everything else is irrelevant. And I invite them to show us some evidence that Avni was a man-eater, because I still haven't seen that.
Right. Mr. Shersat, would you like to respond to that? Now, what Mr. Dan Richardson is saying is something that we all, in fact, must ask of the government who has taken this decision, that where is the proof that Avni killed those 14 people that you keep showing us, under what circumstances? I mean, unless you show that proof, because everything else falls flat, like Dan Richardson very rightly said. And, you know, how do we save our jungles from human greed? Because that is becoming the primary issue now. Mr. Shirsat, can you tell us that when decisions like this are taken, do you take the larger picture of animal conservation in mind, or is it purely on local consideration? Because the tigers that we have here are not just ours, they belong to the planet at large. They belong to everybody living in this planet.
Yeah, definitely, the whole process, standard procedure, SOP was adopted, law was adopted, law of the land was followed, honorable court has upheld, all proofs were given to the court has asked for the all proofs of man-eating, why to kill, why such order is given, tranquilization was tried for not less than 60 days, and Mr. Hunter, Sabat Ali, he is trying to explain who is on the field, in the forest. People sitting in air-conditioned room are commenting on that. He was in the forest.
Sir, where are you sitting now, sir?
Where doctors were available
sir, where
for
are you
reversal of tranquilization.
Cabin?
Please listen to me now. Please let me complete.
Sir, we are asking, since you keep telling us about AC room, we want to know where you are sitting and where your ministers have gone.
Please answer to the
No, sir, we have heard this many times from
telling
you.
us in terms
We
of
want
the
to know
proof
where
that
are you
Avni
sitting
was a
now, sir?
man-eater. That's what we are interested
Where
in.
are you sitting? And what has your government done for the locals? What has your government done? And don't tell me, sir, in Maharashtra there is only one hunter and he's not a Maharashtrian. So why don't you have a single person to come and help in this animal rescue?
punishment. All proofs are
Sir,
given.
don't shout, sir.
All
I'm
proofs are
asking you a
given.
question.
All proofs
Do not
are
shout,
given
sir.
to
We are
all
not
press.
scared by
All
your
proofs
shouting.
are
What are
given.
you
Sir,
talking?
please reserve
What
it for your
proof have you
politicians.
given?
We are not scared by your
Accepted
shouting.
all the proofs.
Post-mortem was not conducted
me
on
speak.
10 out of
Sir,
13
sir,
bodies.
whether the courts
What are you
accepted or not,
talking?
what have you done,
Let
sir?
me speak. I am
Please tell
answering
us what
your
have you done.
questions. Let me
Show
speak.
us
Tell
the
us
proof.
what have
Where
you
is the
done? What
proof?
has
Why
your
was
government done?
post-mortem
No,
not
sir, you
conducted
cannot
on
You
10
cannot
out of 13
understand if you
bodies?
speak over each other.
It is sitting in
Sarita,
our
you
AC
made
room, we
your
pay our
point.
taxes.
Let
But you
Mr.
can make your
Shrisat
Rojanas.
explain to us what proof he is talking about. Yes, Mr. Shrisat, go ahead.
About the AC cabins?
And please don't make comments because Sarita is very much
See,
out there
when
protesting.
when the order was given,
Yes, carry on.
When was the order given, sir? Please tell us.
Can I speak?
First order, when was it given? First. Sir, please tell
When
us.
the
Yes, of
order
course
was
you have to
given,
tell us. When was the first order to
was
capture T1 given, sir?
Earlier,
When, sir? When, sir? No,
it
sir,
was
please tell
given
us the
2
date.
months
When
back.
was it given
It
and when
was
was
given
called?
2 months back. Listen to me now.
No, sir.
Let him
no,
finish.
sir.
Let
Which is
him
why I
finish.
think you need to get
Let
your
us
I don't
sir,
have-
you
you
let
want to
us
listen
give
to me?
You have
Mr.
to give
Shrisat
us
an
that
opportunity
right.
to finish his point and then we will rebut. Sarita and Kamna, just hold on. Let him
Do you
finish
want
his
to
point.
listen to me? Do you? See, the order was given 2 months back. It was challenged in court, High Court and then Supreme Court. Supreme Court has asked for all the proofs. Is the Tigress man-eater or not? All proofs were furnished
Not at
in
all.
front of the Honorable Supreme
Please
Court.
don't
and Supreme
misguide
Court
the
has
people.
satisfied and the... Let me complete, Kamna and Sarita sitting in air-conditioned room.
No,
You are
let's not
challenging
make
the
any
hunter
comments about who
was
is
on the
sitting
forest
where.
field and
Let's
base camp doctors were
respect
sitting.
each other's.
Kindly
You
stop
cannot. Let's
commenting on
respect each
Obviously.
other's point of view and
Obviously.
only
We are
answer
not
to
going
the
to
point,
make
sir.
personal
Please,
comments.
you are
These
digressing
NGOs,
from the topic. I will
you have
not
done
allow
for
that.
Tiger conservation?
Please do
My
not
question is
digress.
to you. What you have done? What Maharashtra government has done for tiger conservation? The tiger number is doubled in last 5 years.
Is that a
tiger number is
justification?
more than double in last 5 years.
I'm sorry, can you
Is
please
that a
answer to the
justification
point?
for killing
Can you
Avni?
give us the proof?
Does that give
Unfortunately,
you?
sad decision.
Does that
What
give you
proof
the
do you
right
have? What
to
is the
kill?
conclusive
When
evidence?
you
Can you
please,
give
I'm sorry, that
All
does
proofs
not
are available.
add up
You are not told.
as a reason, as any
Please,
logic
please,
why
Afridi, you
Avni
are
had
not
to
a
be killed
judge.
because your tiger
You are
numbers
not
are
a
doing
judge.
well.
You are not
I
a
don't think
court.
anybody
All
here is
proofs are
convinced
given
by
in the
that.
court and they
Don't
will be
talk like
submitted in the
politicians.
court by
The nation does
government
not
of
want to listen to
Maharashtra.
politicians
You can
right
go
now.
and
Please give us
and
the proof.
collect it.
You have killed a mother. The cubs are not
Proofs are
found.
available. Proofs
So many
are
days have
available.
passed. She was
Afridi,
on
all
empty
proofs are
stomach.
available. All
Do you
proofs are
understand what
available.
you
I
have
got
done?
proofs in my hand. I got proofs in my hand.
No, you give
Will
it
you be
now.
able to read it
You
now?
give it now. You
Will you
answer
be
my
reading on
question.
camera?
Why was post-mortem not conducted
Yes,
on 10
I
out
got
of
all the
13
proofs.
bodies?
The
Can you
complete
answer the
court
specific
order,
question
complete
now?
Court order, complete court order. You download the court order.
Please,
Download the arguments in the court.
Please
You will get all the proofs.
answer my question,
Download
sir.
all arguments
Why
in the
was
Supreme
even
Court.
the most basic thing like
What is your
post-mortem not
question?
conducted? How can you just say Avni has killed when the post-mortem itself was not conducted? DNA sampling was not done. What are you talking? What proof are you talking about? You
And may
have
I
to
just say-
answer the nation.
Yes.
You have finished.
Right.
You have killed
Let
a
Mr.
tigress.
Richardson come in. Let
What are
Mr.
you
Richardson
talking?
come in.
Postmortem
Answer
report
the
is available.
nation now.
What are you
With all-
talking?
No, I don't want this
Postmortem report
slanging
is
match
available.
happening because we will not
What
be able
are
to
you
bring to
talking?
our viewers the real issues why today people are angry.
Are you
Let
saying
Mr. Dan Richardson come in, please. Yes,
The
Mr. Richardson,
postmortem
go ahead.
report is already declared.
I'd like to know why, with all this outrage nationally in India and globally that was already raging before Avni was killed, why in the world was her body burned on a pyre before any of these tests were done, before any of this evidence could be given? That's exactly why this diversionary tactic is being employed,
Yes.
where everyone's just being shouted at when they're asking a very simple question. Please show us that evidence. There was no evidence. And the reason why Avni's body was burned so rapidly was to make absolutely certain that that evidence could never surface, because it wasn't there. Why in the world would that have happened? With all of the outrage, with all of the questions being asked, wouldn't that be the first thing that would happen under normal circumstances?
Right.
Simple.
Mr.
It's a
Shirsat,
really simple
would you
question.
answer that question and would you please stick to the point? Mr. Richardson has raised an issue here that Avni's body was burned on a pyre within days, 3 to 3 days of her killing. Why was that done? Because there could have been certain amount of tests done to establish a lot of things, a lot of questions which we are raising today. Is it because you didn't want any of that to come out to the public domain that you had to do that? Please answer, Mr. Shirsat. You understood the question, I'm very sure.
Yeah, I have understood the question. Post-mortem was carried out. All procedures were carried out and then the body was burnt. This is a normal procedure. Body is never preserved after post-mortem is done. Post-mortem reports are available in the market. You must have read the post-mortem results. Her stomach was empty. She had not eaten for 4-5 days. These results were available in the post-mortem only. And activists are holding जीवन सबका एक समान. अगर जीवन सबका एक समान है तो 13 लोग मरने के बाद प्रूफ देना पड़ेगा आपको. 13 लोग मरने की न्यूज तो मिरर नाउ पे दिखाई गई है. It is there on all the newspaper. It has been witnessed by the villagers lively. Nobody has done shooting. So सबका जीवन एक समान. 13 human lives. Again tigress not to be killed. Tranquilization efforts were made continuously by the hunter, by the people, by the doctors. Team of drone and other people were searching. Ultimately, unfortunately, this has happened.
So all your drones and surveillance system now, Mr. Shirsat, should be able to locate the cubs. All your surveillance system that you are making tall claims about, let us have that system working to trace Avni's cubs. We need those 2 cubs. Avni is dead and gone. We need her cubs. Can you give us an assurance that you will get us the cubs alive? And can you assure the Maharashtra government, can your forest department, who claims to have all the expertise to take these decisions, can they have the expertise to get us the cubs of Avni? It's been 8 days and it's a jungle. Their lives are in danger. Now that is the assurance we are looking for. I'll give the last word to Sarita.
What do you think, sir? It is a party
I have to wind up.
Come one, come all. There has to be an expert. There have to be forensic experts. There have to be wildlife experts. There have to be, the laboratory tests, the forensic, the science, the technology has to be used. It is not a party going on कि रंधावा जी आप भी आ जाओ, आप अपने बेटे को भी बुला लो. दोनों में से किसी ने कभी मैन ईटर टाइग्रेस के ऊपर काम नहीं किया, लेकिन आप उनको बुला रहे हैं.
You made those points. I have very little time. I want to just give Sarita the last word and then I have to wind up. Yes, Sarita, go ahead.
Why, Ragini, one very important point.
Yeah, we are desperately keen.
Yes, go ahead.
We are desperately keen to get other states to come and help Maharashtra to find the cubs because Maharashtra does not have the intent or the capability. We request the PCCF, Mr. Mishra, to send summons or request other state departments who are more than willing to come. If only he will ask. See, the bureaucratic circle is such that they will not come and offer. Unlike we or commoners, we are willing to help. But if it has to be within the system, then Mr. Mishra has to make this request. So I beseech Mr. Mishra to please call other states. The other PCCF are more than willing to help you, Mr. Mishra.
Right.
To find the cubs. Please.
All right.
Time is running out for them.
The time is running out. We are all concerned. We are all anxious to know about the whereabouts of Avni's cubs today. The big point here is that our jungles are not happy hunting grounds. They are the habitat for the animals, for our tigers. They have to coexist with human beings. Let's respect their space. Thanks for watching.